In this video, I will show you how to use the align and distribute options. Based on what we learned in the previous video, you can see already that we have one layer here called stems, and within that we have a big rectangle in the background that's currently logged. And on top of that, we have all of these stems as separate groups. So it's very easy to select them and move them around. But what if I want to align them and maybe have even space between them? What you can do is select the items you wish to align. And once they are all selected, on top here in the options bar, you will find the 6 first icons for alignment and then the next 6 icons for distribution. So if I want to align them all to the top edge of the current selection, I just need to click on this icon here called Vertical Align Top. After that, if I want to have even space between them, I will have to use the Distribute Horizontal Center option. Once I click on this icon, I will get exactly the same distance between the center of these stems. Now, this doesn't mean that the actual distance between them will be the same. The distance from their center points will be the same. So in case these stems are the same width, we would get the same distance between them. But because some of them are bigger than others, it actually doesn't make it even. It is better than before, but it's definitely not even. So to make this even more obvious, I'm going to make one of them much smaller by holding down the Shift key. That's going to be a small stamp. So once again, let's try to select all of these together. First of all, now align them slightly differently. I'm going to align them not to the vertical top, but the vertical center. So once I do that, you will see how it's going to be aligned. By the way, this is bottom, center, and top. But let's just keep it center aligned. And now let's try the same option again, Horizontal Distribute Center. Now it clearly shows that because of the difference in the size of these stems, we will have different spaces between them. The distance from their center points are going to be the same, but the actual distance between them is not the same. So for that, there is another technique. You can again have the same selection, but instead of going up here to the options bar, you can go into the Align panel. Within that, again, you have the 6 alignment options and 6 distribution options. But if you click on the panel menu and you choose Show Options, you can also reveal a very useful feature called Distribute Spacing. If you have a selection already, you might need to switch to Align to Key Object before you can use this feature. So once you set to Key Object, now you can exactly specify the distance you wish to use. So let's say I would like to use 20 pixels between each of these shapes. And then if I click on Horizontal Distribute Space, that means between each of these shapes, I will get exactly 20 pixels space. Let's try to reduce that down to 10. And then I click on this option again. Now they will be much closer to each other. I can even type in 0 and click on that option again. That way they will be aligned exactly to each other, so the edges will completely match. If I again have the same selection of stamps and change the Align to option to Align to Artboard, and then click on the same icon, I don't have to specify pixel here, because what happens now is that based on the size of the artboard, Illustrator will immediately distribute these objects evenly and spreads them across the whole artboard. And the same things that we've learned would apply to a column of objects as well. So I just selected the 3 stamps on the left side. And before I forget, I changed the alignment option to selection. That way, if I choose, for example, Horizontal Align Center, that will keep them centered. And the same way, we can also distribute them. So in this case, I would use the other distribute option, Vertical Distribute Center. Once again, because we have a much taller stamp here than the others, although the center points of these objects are the same distance away from each other, we rather use the key object type in exactly how much space we want, let's say 20 pixels, and then use the other distribute option called vertical distribute space. That way we will know exactly that the distance will be 20 pixels between each of these stems. And this is all I wanted to show you in this video, but there's one more thing that we need to discuss, and that is how to work with guides and how to precisely position objects in your artboard. So that's what we are going to talk about in the next video.